everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to the best of 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life and all of my scrappy friends who are playing along at different times during the month. I will leave the link to the Facebook group in the description box below so that you can follow along if you want to play. These are different sketches that have been used throughout the last 9 series, and it should be a lot of fun to revisit these sketches. So this first one was a sketch from series 1, day 3, which is with Laura Whitaker, and this is a really cool kind of a film strip inspired sketch. And so I'm going to kind of try and follow along like I usually do as close as possible. I won't be putting the mixed media part of it on, but the rest of it will be pretty on spot. So I am scrapbooking some photos from our trip that we took. Gosh, it was already in 2010, I believe. So it's been a while, and I need to finish this album of our trip to South Dakota. And it's really close to being done. These photos are ones from the road trip on our way there and back. So it's just little views that you'd see along the way from Illinois to South Dakota, which is a lot of billboards, a lot of wheat fields, and a lot of windmills. So I wanted to kind of capture that, but I didn't need huge photos to capture it. So I went and took the one that looks like a teepee. This is actually a rest area over at the Missouri River between, I think it's between South Dakota and Minnesota, I believe. Don't quote me on it. It's between one of the borders. You cross over, yeah, it's got to be Minnesota and North Dakota. Anyways, you cross over the Missouri River, and it's kind of like there you go from flat land to all of a sudden you're seeing a little bit of, the valleys of the river and things like that. So it's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and I cut the photos down to the one of the teepee is 3x4, and then the other two I cut down by 3x2, and so it's going to give that appearance of the photo strip. And again, it's just little snapshots of what we saw along the way, so it's not like important. I'm not doing this for like us in front of Mount Rushmore or something like that, which I think would be a photo that you'd want to have more presence in your book. These are things you want to remember, but having a small photo of them is fine. So I'm taking the paper that looks like wheat, and I am going to mimic the heart border that was on the sketch and do a notebook paper punch that was from Creative Memories. And then I am going to use that floral to bring in a pop of that little bit of blue and for that next layer. And then the smaller strip layer, I'm just using the branding strip from one of the pieces of paper. Now, the nice thing about this with the branding strip, even though it has the hole in it, it's going to be covered by the photos, so you won't even know that this had the hanging hole in it. So I'm just trimming off a little bit of the excess paper that didn't come off with the trimmer and cleaning that up a little bit. And now I'm just going to start measuring and getting it where I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the photos out. I wanted the bigger picture at the bottom because of the weight of it. Then I chose the rolls of hay to go next because, again, you're looking at a weight of a photo, and the ground, for your eye is a little bit more visual than the top picture of the windmills, which shows a little bit more of the sky. Now I'm just taking a pen and I'm just making a small dot on the side of where I want to make my cuts. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my Fiskars trimmer to cut those off and make it the size that I want for this photo strip. Then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and start gluing everything together. So now that I have it how I want it, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a little ATG down on this first layer, adding the floral on top of that. The next will come the photo strip, the branding strip. First, I'm making sure it's all lined up. I'm not real, I don't take the corner or the T-square ruler that often, but still to my eye, I want to try and make it as straight as possible. And now I'm just going and overlapping the branding strip once I cut that down to have it hang off just a little bit. And again, it will allow the hole in the center to be covered up and you'll never know it was there. And now I'm going to adhere the photos. Again, going with the larger, heavier photo on the bottom. Next, I'm going with the ground, which is a little bit more weighty for these two photos. And then I'm going with more of the sky picture of the windmills. And now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Now this is one of those papers from One Canoe 2, and you might look at it and think it's a little bit difficult to use, but to me, when I'm looking at this very much looks kind of like South Dakota-ish in my mind, and so I thought it was good for that travel album. Now what I did was cut off a chunk of this journaling card that had the 3 butterflies on it, and I'm just going to fussy cut these out so that I can have one in each of my 3 clusters. And with the magic of editing, we will be done in just 1 second. And I think it's right about here. Yep. So now I'm going into my stash and I'm looking to find what I can use for my embellishments. And so I grabbed out my Vicki Boutin Storyteller and the travel one. I forget what the name of it is. I didn't see anything. I'm trying to find something I can use for the title in the upper right hand corner, and I didn't see anything offhand that I really liked. And then I do have the One Canoe 2 project pad, which had these thinner stickers in them, which did have some titles, but I wanted to go into my thickers and just see if there was anything that was better. So I saw that word adventure, but I really didn't want to pull the black in, and I thought it was too big. Really thought about this Rosie Studio Explorer, but again, I was bringing in glitter gold, which wasn't in my album or my page, so I opted out and I went back with this Remember This, which was from the project pad. Now these stickers in the project pad are really thin, so I'm kind of happy when I have an opportunity to use them on, especially like where it's going to be like pretty much flat on the page and I don't have to worry about the fact that they're so thin. Really did make a difference, of being able to use it now. So now I'm taking another piece of paper from one of the One Canoe 2 collections. I think I had like 3 of their paper pads. I think I had Saturday, I had the Twilight paper pad, project pad, Willow, and Saturday. So I don't know which ones I grabbed from where. I was kind of thumbing through all of them. And so now that I cut out one of these florals, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And then I'm just going to put this word, Remember This, on top of it. And then I will glue the butterfly eventually down at the bottom in the corner where I have it there. So next I'm going through and I'm going to cut a bigger floral that I'm going to use on the photo strip in the bottom right hand side. It's a larger kind of element on the sketch. I'm not going to add a lot to it. This is very simple page that I'm doing. Again, it's just candid shots of our drive, so it's not like the important sightseeing places, but it's a good remembrance of the drive. So in my mind, I don't need to break out every scrappy embellishment I have in my stash for something like this. I just want a pretty page that I can put in my book and be able to tell the story about the things that we saw on the drive itself. So I've kind of tucked the floral in a little bit and have one of the leaves hanging over, and that's how I like, I want it to look almost like, if you were seeing it growing on the fence, part of it would be under the fence, between the fence rails, and you'd see part of it and some would peek out, and I want it to look like it would look in nature. So that's why I tend to tuck and layer things under as much as I can. And so then I also put the butterfly on there. So now I did glue the other butterfly down. Now I'm on the third floral, which is going to go in the upper left hand corner. And again, it will just have be simple with another butterfly. This one kind of had the leaves to where it kind of like did almost a photo corner, and I liked how that looked. And you'll also see that like some of my florals will tuck under things, and some of them will go over the top of things. And I try and vary it up because again, it just adds a little bit interest and it makes it look like it would look in nature. Now I'm just grabbing a couple of these hearts. I put one in the bottom corner with the larger floral. I put one in the top corner on the left hand side, or actually I put two up there, and then I put one up with the title. I'm grabbing two of these label stickers and then a heart. And the last thing I'm going to do is put some Nuvo drops down in pink, and I'm just going to make some little butterfly trails. And then you can see I kind of messed up the ones that were on the label. So in a moment, I'm going to go back and I'm going to take my mixed media little scraper tool, and I'm going to actually scrape them off. And because they're still wet, they pretty much come off. And then I'm just going to reapply them back down. There's a little bit of a sheen where they were, but not much. And you really, once they're in the page protector in the book, you won't be able to tell. And then I'm just going to scrape up that excess that I was putting on my sketch and going to throw that away. And here is my close-ups. Please make sure that you check out everyone who's playing along, and we'll see you again tomorrow for another of our 30 days of inspiration. Bye-bye.